Hi-oh!
Well, howdy partners, welcome back to the Marcus and Svea Cooking Show. Now you might not have heard from us in the last little while, but that don't mean we haven't been cooking some good food, ain't that right, Papa?
Well, that's totally correct.
And we've got another fantastic recipe for you today. It's black bean fajitas with red cabbage that's about the size of my face, some avocados that are about the size of my glasses, and you know, there's some refried beans in here as well, so you get your protein is all I'm saying. Also, for all of you who have those weird genes that say that cilantro or coriander or whatever you want to call it tastes like soap, then, you know, maybe you want to sit this one out because, I don't know if you can tell, but that green stuff, that's coriander. So you can just leave it out. I mean, we've learned to live with the taste, but,
yeah,
you know.
Let's get right into it.
Let's get cooking. So the first thing you want to do, well actually I have to correct myself, the first thing you want to do is wash those little hands of yours because we are living in Corona time still, even though sometimes the world acts like we aren't. But after that, the first thing you're going to do is grab your face-sized cabbage and you're gonna cut it into thin little strips, just like this, you know. And if you want to make them smaller, you can by just kind of like chopping them in half or something. So once you've cut up your cabbage, by the way, it's around 400 grams that we've got here, but you know, I suspect that this is a little bit more. You want to add half a teaspoon of just regular salt, and then you're going to do, and I apologize for this because your hands will smell a little bit after doing this recipe, you're going to half one lime, and you're going to press in that lime juice, as much of it as you can. So that's one lime, and then both hands will smell because now what you're going to do is you're going to hug it. You're going to want to try to spread that lime juice, and you really want to try and hug the cabbage so that it warms up a little bit and so that it softens and takes in that lime juice so it's not just kind of sitting at the bottom of your bowl. So you get slightly purple hands from this, but it'll be worth it when you eat it. Beautiful. Next, so that red cabbage salad is done. Next, we are going to slice up a red onion. Now, whether you use the kind of fancy-ish technique where you slice with a smaller knife, or you use a bigger knife to do this motion to get it all small, like a knife like this, which, you know, you could kill someone with, then feel free to do whatever you feel comfortable with. So now we've moved over to the hob. We're going to get started on our refried beans. We're going to heat up some neutral oil, whichever type you fancy, whether that's rapsolja, like we're using, or peanut oil if you don't have an allergy, or whatever else it may be. You know, there's loads of different types of neutral oil. You just warm some of that up in a pan and fry your onion. So now we've fried the onion. You'll see it's a nice translucent color. We're going to add in 2 cloves of garlic, and we're going to press those in. And it's generally always better to fry your onion before you fry your garlic, even if it's just a couple of minutes before, because the onion in general takes a little bit longer. This is a couple minutes on low heat. Once we've added the garlic, we're going to get our black beans. Again, that's 2 tins or 2 packs or however you get them of black beans that we're adding in there. Here we've got our lovely black beans, which will start making noise immediately. And if you're on high heat, maybe in the beginning you want to take it down a little bit before we add water later on, because there's a chance that these beans will pop like popcorn, and that can get quite messy. And next comes a little spice mix, which we've pre-measured here. But again, if you're on low heat, there's no rush to have to do this beforehand. It's just so that it's easier for us while we're filming. And this is 1 tablespoon paprika, 1 tablespoon cumin, 1 teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of chili flakes, and just a smidge of cayenne, which is quite spicy. So if you're not the spicy type, go easy on the cayenne. But if you are, by all means, ramp it up. So you can start to bring your heat up slightly as you fry these for just a couple of minutes to really get those spices. You'll smell it. It's a great smell in the kitchen right now. And it doesn't matter if they pop a little bit. I mean, they will burst because, you know, there's a lot of heat on them. And that's fine because, you know, they'll be kind of like a paste almost by the time that we're done. So it's okay, don't panic if they pop, you just don't want it to go everywhere. So frequent stirring just kind of allows them to pop, but not pop, you know. So these are just about ready now. So we're gonna add, and this again will make quite a bit of noise because you're adding water to a hot pan, but we're gonna add just about 200 milliliters of water. And 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. Now if you don't have apple cider vinegar, it's fine to use any other type of vinegar really. I recommend white wine vinegar as a replacement, but red wine vinegar works too. And we're just gonna let this water kind of absorb into the beans. That'll take about 5-6 minutes, maybe a little bit longer on medium to high heat. So while your beans are frying, you're gonna wanna cut open your avocados. We've got 2 here. And you know, I hear you. Avocados are always, you know, a bit iffy because A, you never know if they're actually gonna be ripe, and it's very easy to miss that ripe date. So let's see how this one, well, that looks pretty good to me. I don't know about you. And also, you know, they're not the greatest for the environment. They come from far away. There's such a high demand for avocados nowadays. But you know, guys, I'll be honest with you. You could live your whole life eating just avocados and it would still be better than eating meat because, you know, I know you'll probably hate me for this, or some of you will, but meat just isn't great for the environment, so just get your avocados instead. And you know, it's a bit of a guilty pleasure for me. I don't buy them too often, but every now and then I like to, because you know, I'm not contributing to the meat industry. So we're just gonna scoop that out once we've diced it into this little bowl. If you've never cut an avocado, you just kind of slice it in the peel. Don't press too hard because you can cut your hand, which I have done. They're usually quite soft, so they don't require a lot of effort. And then you just scoop. Yummy. So here we go. Our beans are about done. As you'll see, the liquid is gone. It's been, you know, it's steamed up, but also gone a little bit into the beans. Now, if you want, you can kind of press down on them a little bit to turn them a little bit mushier. But again, this is not something that you have to do. You'll see it kind of becomes kind of pasty. But yeah, at this point you can probably turn off the heat underneath. They store a lot of heat, so you don't have to serve it right away because you'll probably burn your entire mouth. So while these cool off just a smidge, we're gonna get the cheese going, pick some coriander, and then we're ready to eat. It's that simple, guys, but it's also that delicious. So I mean, why wouldn't you do something like this? Like I said, the cheese is one of the last things we're gonna do. We're just gonna grate that. Personally, this is one of my least favorite jobs. We use Violife cheese, so this is vegan. It's a plant-based cheese. I always say if you're gonna go vegan and you've, you know, been vegetarian for a while and you're trying to give up cheese and you're trying the cheese alternatives, you're like, this is disgusting. I mean, this tastes nothing like cheese. I've been there. My advice is don't eat any cheese, don't drink any milk, don't do anything like that for a while, especially with the cheese. Don't eat cheese for like 2 months, and then start slowly but surely getting some cheese into your diet that's vegan, because then your brain will have kind of, or well, your mouth actually, will have kind of forgotten what cheese tastes like. So you'll taste something like this and you'll go, yeah, that's kind of similar. And then the more you eat it, the more your brain will go, yeah, this is cheese. So to me now, this tastes exactly like cheese did, but I'm sure if I had real cheese, I'd go, what? That is nothing alike. And that's just how our taste buds work, you know? They forget after a while. It's the same with meat products now. I eat meat replacements and I think, oh my gosh, this is too real. This is probably actually beef. Whereas someone who eats beef regularly might be like, this is disgusting. What are you talking about? That's just the reality of it. So yeah, don't eat cheese for a while and then start slowly incorporating them. Great, so when you're using, you know, cilantro, coriander, whatever you want to call it, you know, some people love it, some people hate it, some people are okay with it. I think it tastes good in some foods, but I have to admit sometimes I do understand why people say it tastes like soap. So if you want to get it a bit smaller, you can either just kind of tear it, or you can just pick some leaves and chop it small. Or if you like cilantro, you know, you can even eat these longer stem parts. They taste the same. They taste the exact same. So you can add those in too, but if you want to chop it, again, this is the method that I would recommend using. It gets it quite small, quite quickly. You just kind of have to bring it together. And then you end up with nice fine pieces of coriander that you can sprinkle on top, so it's not, you know, overwhelming in a bite, if that's not something that you fancy. Now the last thing you gotta do is you gotta set your table. In our family, presentation is extremely important. We like to have our table nice and pretty, as you can tell. Lovely bowls. While that's happening, we're just gonna put the tortilla, the wraps, into the microwave. So they've been in there for 30 seconds now. That's enough to just heat them up a little bit. And then we are just about done. So the last thing you gotta do is actually make one of these, right? You gotta grab your wrap, and we're gonna use a creme fraiche that is, again, completely vegan. As you've probably noticed, that's a theme in this family.
Everybody should have heard about that.
Yeah, so just a sneaky little product placement. Please sponsor us, Oatly. Just get a nice dollop on there. And some of our limey red cabbage salad.
Lord, thank you for vegan food that you planted the Garden of Eden.
Amen. Skål.
Skål!
Now that is what I call a wrap.